enthusiastic. Welcome to the Checkpoint Church podcast. This is a show that helps nerds, geeks, and gamers feel seen, connected, and spiritually supported because you don't have to explore faith alone. Today, we're going to be talking with Cozy Tea Pastor, special guest of the show today. We're going to talk, as usual, about what we've been watching, playing, and reading. I am going to give a quick rundown on the clubs for February since our last episode got canceled with the snowpocalypse here on the East Coast, or really not just the East Coast, on like the entire Southeast, all of it. So talk about that. We're going to talk with Cozy Tea, check in and see how things have been going with his cool work that he's been doing over there. Talk about Undertale, and then close things out with the GDC report that just came out. So they just dropped their 2026 games industry report information. And so just kind of hitting the highlights of that one because I haven't had time to dive deep into it, but it felt like it needed to at least be a topic of conversation for today. So that is the game plan. For those of you that don't know, this is Checkpoint Church, a real life church. I'm Nerd Pastor Nate, a real life nerd, a real life pastor who finds Jesus in my favorite fandoms. This is a space that we're trying to tie together folks who make Checkpoint Church what it is, from Discord to YouTube, to some of our ancillary communities like Cozy Tea Church. We're doing all that from Discord to YouTube and all the fun places. We want you to be a part of the show. So we're going to be engaging with the chat regularly in here, and are happy to have Twyla, DGC, Trombone, Marlena in the chat there. Appreciate folks hopping in and the more that hop into the show. So let's get started with an introduction from Cozy Tea Pastor. Tell us a little bit about who you are, what you're doing here, that kind of thing. We'll talk more about how things are going in a little bit, but just a quick cursory rundown.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. I'm Cozy Tea Pastor. I've been hanging around the internet as Cozy Tea Pastor for just, I think, 7 months now, because it was last July. So yeah, play a whole variety of games. Definitely, as the name suggests, do love a good cozy game. Also love a good tea. I don't currently have any tea in front of me, but will probably happen after this show. I know. I had my tea this morning. I was like, I probably need to drink just like straight water, no herbs, for a little bit. So I'm doing that. But yeah, you can find me on Twitch as Cozy Tea Pastor, on Instagram as Cozy Tea Pastor, and also on Substack under Cozy Tea Church, writing about games, playing games. Love finding the connection between the games we play and our spirituality and how we experience faith in the rhythms of our life.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Love it. Yeah, we had all the discussions in the first episode with Cozy Tea Pastor about teas and all those kinds of things. So we won't drudge too deep into that. But I also didn't have a chance to drop your links into the description, but this is a memo for future Nathan to remember to do that. But I think it is Cozy Tea Pastor in most every place that they can hope to find you.
Yeah.
Instagram, Twitch, Substack.
If you go to Instagram, then I have other links in that bio to go everywhere else. So that's probably the best place to go.
The web expandeth if you go to the link tree and you see all the various options, all the good stuff.
Yeah.
Love it. I don't know how many people actually do that. I am an advocate of that. I feel like for me and my ADHD micro obsessions, I will find someone and I will obsess over everything they've ever done. And so I love a good link tree because I want to go and follow you in all the places, even places that I don't use. And I don't know if that's just me, but that's very much the vibe that I bring to the fray.
I think it makes sense. Yeah, I like it. I'm probably the same boat of like, yeah, if I know you somewhere, I want to also find you in these other places and see what's happening. So yeah, that's why I put my links up there.
Yeah. And I did see Twyla just dropped it. So there you go. If you're in the chat, you can see the link to Linktree, Cozy Tea Pastor, find all the spaces and places there. We're going to get started with the show with a watch, play, read. That's how we always like to start the show. And we have started recently doing one at a time rather than all three at once to avoid just kind of the constant brain mush of all the things at all the times, especially whenever you're somebody like me who does too many of the things. So I'm going to let you start for us, Cozy Tea, with what you've been watching, and let us know in the chat as well what you've been watching.
Yeah. a few things. I'd say we are an Olympics household,
Hmm.
so the Winter Olympics has been happening, and that's been going on, and is usually on TV most nights, watching the prime time, seeing what's going on. So that's been the last like 10 days. But I also recently I need to catch up. I think I'm an episode or two behind. But I started watching let me look it up again. Oh, Dark Moon the Blood Altar, which is an anime and it just launched 2026. It's kind of Twilight. I say kind of. It's basically Twilight. Um, there are vampires and werewolves. The main character Suha like goes to a starts at a like a boarding school kind of situation. She has special power, like super strength. The village she grew up in, they people thought she was a vampire because she had super strength. So then they kind of like shunned her for that. But she doesn't. She is not a vampire. Then she ends up being friends with this group of who are vampires. They don't tell her that, but they do tell her, show her about their like super abilities too. So that's where I am so far in the show. I'm only like 3 or 4 episodes in, but it's interesting, and I like it. It's like Twilight, except the main character is kind of like I don't know. She's got her own super strength and like can stand on her own. So we'll see.
Nice. Yeah, I was going to say, whenever you dropped the title of it, I was like, it sounds really cheerful. It sounds like a very happy,
Hmm.
happy, bright, shiny, fun time show. Darkman, the Blood Altar. All
Yeah,
fun words.
very, very happy, bubbly.
Yeah,
Um,
it's the vibe
yeah,
it's given off for sure.
that's
Now,
exactly what it is.
I have not heard of that one. It always is a
Okay.
surprise to me. You know, the thing about anime is it's one of those medium where
Mhm.
like there's always something that you've never heard of. There's always like mini somethings coming out any season that people are catching on to. So I like it.
Yeah.
Love to see it. Very cool. We've got Sierra dropping in the chat there as well. Been loving Book of the Month for whenever we get to reading, and also ditto about the Olympics. We've been watching the Olympics here
Nice.
and there. I watched the opening ceremony and watched a little bit of the luge. I haven't watched any skeletons yet, but I will plan on watching those. We did I can't remember which ice skating it is, but it's like the couples dance. Um,
Yeah.
and so we've been watching some of those here and there, just catching what we can, but we enjoy watching them a good bit. Um, Twyla also offers up season 3 of Kaguya and season 2 of Arya. Also Iron Lung and Send Help. Yeah, I really want to see Iron Lung. I never actually played the game or watched Markiplier's Let's Play of it, but I just think it's so cool that Mark has a movie in the theaters, and so I might eventually have to find that one. I don't know who it'll get sold to. It would be appropriate to be sold to YouTube, but yeah, I don't know how much their online market is. I have been finally getting back, so I do a thing where I like to watch. Or I like to read from the 1001 books to read before you die, play the 1001 video games before you die, watch the 1001 movies before you die, listen to the 1001 albums before you die. I really like that like series. And
Mhm.
I've been lax on my movies, and I have not watched many of the 1001 movies for quite a while. And so I decided to try to get back on the bandwagon. And so since then, I have watched several. I watched The Gold Rush, which is like the old like 1930s Charlie Chaplin film. Which, I do enjoy a good slapstick, but I never understand whenever I go and I read the reviews and they're like, changed the way I view film forever. And I'm like, I don't know. Like, maybe, but for me, it was just a goofy time. Like, I can't see past the like Three Stooges of it all. And people are like, you
Mm.
just don't understand the deep underlying narrative of this man in love with a woman and heartbreak. And I'm like, I didn't see all that. I don't know. Maybe I have, don't know enough about Charlie Chaplin's writing and directing. And then I watched one called Masculine Feminine. That was an interesting experience, very weird, avant-garde-esque. I watched one that I really liked called Rosetta, which is about like a young woman trying to get out of this like weird phase of life from 17 to 19 years old in France, where it's like she can't work enough to get a job, but she can't qualify for a job until she gets enough work. And so she's struggling through life with an alcoholic mother and the things that she's willing to do to try to make ends meet. So that was an interesting film, and one that brought about some interesting things. And then I also watched a truly life-changing film for me, which was Past Lives, which is a movie that came out 2 years ago from A24, that follows this boy and girl from Korea. He stays in Korea. She moves to New York with her novelist dad because she wants to write and wants to be a playwright. And so you do these 2 time skips. You start at like their childhood, you jump forward 12 years to when they're like struggling young adults, college kids. And then you skip forward another 12 years to where she's now married. And he comes over to New York for the first time to just see her. And it's not a love story. It is a love story. It's like obviously with the name Past Lives, it's like trying to say a lot about the lives that we live, the possibilities, the opportunities that we miss along the way. But I really do think it was like a perfect script. It reminded me in all the right ways, and this may put me on the cringe list, millennial list as well, but like it reminded me in all the right ways of 500 Days of Summer, where it's just like the script just works. It just works. It's clever. It's witty. It's appropriately written and paced and all the stuff. And so there were some banger lines in Past Lives that I absolutely will be carrying with me. And then as far as TV shows, I've been watching a couple of different anime. Probably the only one, Shibo Yugi playing death games to put food on the table is a really weird one that I am still pretty stricken by. I keep watching it, even though it is real dark and real weird. They're like enduring these death games, but one thing that they do is they go to this like pastel art style every now and again, and they like remove all the features from their face and they become dolls. And it's a very interesting way to do it. And I find that the part that keeps gripping me and making me watch. So good stuff. Good stuff. We also have DGC in the chat saying Kaguya-sama rewatched Senshu, which was really fun, by the way. If you've not watched Senshu, that was our club for last month that I recommend to you if you've not ever seen it, Cozy T. It was a good time.
I haven't. I'm going to write it down.
Yeah, Zenshu, Zenshu. And then also watching Prof. Noctis's FF7 2026 lecture, YouTube streams, all that good stuff.
Nice.
Nice. All right, well, how about playing? In the realm of playing, what have you been getting into, Cozy T Pastor?
Well, something that we're going to talk about in a little bit. I finished my first playthrough of Undertale Friday. So I've been playing that, streaming that on Twitch. So that's been really fun. I appreciate anyone here who has also jumped in the chat and helped me, or at least been good company as I figure it out. So we'll get more into that, but really enjoyed my experience. It was definitely one that's like always kind of been there as one of these like classic iconic games. And I wasn't sure if I would play it, but then like it came up as the gaming club for another Discord and for January. I finished it in February, but I'm going to say that feels successful for me. And yeah, really loved it. Loved the writing. We'll get into it more, but played that. I was playing the Final Fantasy Tactics for a while, the Ivalis Chronicles, which has been really good, but then kind of hit a slump on it, or not really on it, but in life. So needed something a little different. And I had seen someone on Instagram that I'd follow share something about old school RuneScape still being really strong, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna jump back in and see what happens, because I used to play that game so much. And here I am, like 15 hours in.
Oh, nice. Did you start from scratch, like level 1?
Yeah, I just created a new character because I had still the login for my last account, but I was like, nah, it's time. We'll just start a new one. And still great. It's still like they added a new skill that's specifically for old school RuneScape
Hmm.
sailing. It's for members. I haven't decided if I'm going to pay yet to play, but doing the free right now has been great. Just fighting cows, building up stats, cooking, uh, chopping a lot of trees down. It's a great time.
Very good.
A lot of
Uh,
nostalgia.
yeah. It's interesting. I didn't do a ton of RuneScape growing up, but what I did was, oh gosh, now the name's escaping me. Oh no, I did another MMO that I can't remember for the life of me right now. Maple
Mm.
Story. And so like I grew up on Maple Story, and I can imagine going back to that OG days would be quite the vibe. But they were also very different in a lot of ways. A 2D type game versus the 3D. But yeah. Yeah. And Maple Story did. They dropped an idler on Android a couple months ago, and I installed it and just never opened it. My
Yeah.
classic phone move of like that phone game sounds neat. I sure do need a doctor's visit to play that game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the RuneScape has an idle game now, and I like had it for a little bit, but I was like, I don't need it that idle. It's
Mm,
like there's some like if you're like fishing or whatever, it's pretty idle. I can like work on other things while I just, click out occasionally. But I need a little bit more than I think it's called Melvor idle or something.
mm,
Um, that's some people really enjoy. I tried it. It
yeah.
didn't last very long.
I have an idler game on my phone right now that I have put so many, like, at this point, I think we're nearing 100 hours. And I'm like past the point of buy-in that I'm like, I can't ever stop playing this game. Like, I think I'm
Mm.
just gonna have to play this game the rest of my life because what do I do at this point? I've put in so much time, I've put in so much loyalty. At this point, I'm having to like wait weeks at a time for upgrades, and it's like worth it, I guess. If I've done
Yeah.
this much, why wouldn't I just keep waiting and doing the next thing? So yeah. An interesting world for sure. Looking at the chat, we've got some folks playing Minecraft. Sierra's been playing Minecraft, loving the updates.
Nice.
Happy Gas playing some Stranova. DGC's been playing FF7R. Iconfell, Trails in the Sky, first chapter. Second chapter, I feel like it's coming out soon. I believe it's right around the corner. I'm excited to finally eventually get into the first one. Twyla hasn't had much time to play, but has been doing Let's Plays of Iconfell Pathologic 2 and having a friend screen share some Signalis. Love Signalis. It was a great game. Super fun. Yeah, and then talking a little bit about a VR chat world fishing idling game. Very cool. I have had a lot of very focused game time over the past couple weeks. So I really dove in feet first with Outer Worlds 2. I loved Outer Worlds 1 so much that I knew I would enjoy it. So I have come to the end of that campaign. Super enjoyed the moments. Some of my favorite bits in it were. So I don't know if did you ever play Outer Worlds 1? Do you know the premise?
I've watched some gameplay. I haven't played it myself, but I've watched people play
So
it.
one of the it follows the like Fallout New Vegas style. You inherit like faults, so things that
Mhm.
are bad with you happen, but they also have like benefits to them as well. And I happened to accept one that was a little risky, and I probably shouldn't have done it, where it eliminates the ability to say no to any fault, so you have to say yes to every fault that happens after that. And that got me in some trouble. That got me in a little bit of trouble because I got to the point where I had stolen so many things that if I stole one more thing, I would unlock this fault that would make me steal things like without trying. So like my character would just rob people and I would get in big trouble everywhere that I go without being able to control it. And so I couldn't steal anything for like the last 10 hours of the game because if I stole anything, I was going to get that like that factor and then it was going to change everything. My favorite one was I like to do sneaky stealth gameplay. And so I was crouching a lot. And whenever you crouch a lot, at some point you get the one that is bad knees. And so what that does is whenever you crouch, your knees pop really loud. And you alert everyone nearby. So if you're trying to sneak, you're gonna have trouble. So you have to squat super early outside of earshot, and it just cracked me up. so much
So
every single
realistic.
time that my knees would pop. I would just be like, oh no, this is just my life. What are we doing? Yeah, so that was a good time. I also played through the entirety of Iconfell, which I'll talk more about whenever we do the club conversation on it, because that was our club pick for this month. But had a lot of feelings on that game, have a lot of thoughts on that game that I will offer up then. And then we played Many Nights of Whisper as Twilight dropped in there, was our Pixel Pilgrimage that we did last week. And then played a couple, just like an hour of the new Edmund Macmillan game, Eugenics, and Starvaders, Hightail, little games here and there. And then my latest game that I started picking back up is Cairn. Did you ever play that at Next Fest? Did you play Cairn?
No, but that's another one I've seen a lot of people talk about and play. Some of it. That's the rock climbing one, right?
Yes. So Cairn is the rock climbing game, and holy smokes. I don't know. Like, I think I'm gonna have to have surgery after this game is done, because my gut is just constantly clenched playing this game.
Oh,
I am like so stressed and snappy. Like, whenever my kids will be like sitting on me trying to like talk while I'm playing this game, and I'm like, I need to focus right now. I gotta grab this rock. I'm about to fall. And like
yeah.
I'm getting so stressed about this game in ways that I cannot believe. The characters are fascinating. It is a weird like case study in being a driven perfectionist. The main character Ava is not a good person. Like, that's what's really interesting to play, is like they are the best at what they do, and they're the best at what they do because they're not kind. And it's really interesting. So I'm enamored by this game. I can't stop playing it, even though I am like sweating the entire time, because it's just such an experience. But
Is it like so? I get I don't know if you like when you get close to like a heights thing, like if you're on like a bridge or like even I don't know, tall building, you're looking out, like you can kind of I feel it like in my feet, kind of can get a little freaky near the edge. But it's also sometimes if I'm like watching something or even playing a game where I'm like on the edge of something, I can also feel it. Like, is it like that constantly? Because I feel like that would be
it's not
not
even
a
a fear
good
of heights
space.
thing. It's not a
Yeah.
fear of heights thing. It really is like it's almost like so the way it works is it's like a QWOP style, where you're controlling each limb of Ava's body. And so
Oh.
you're controlling one hand, and you grip handholds and that kind of stuff. And randomly, if you don't have a good hold, her limbs will start shaking as her stamina lowers. And so if her stamina lowers too much, she just lets go. And you fall however far you've climbed. And if you don't have like a python in, then you just fall to your death.
Oh.
If you do have one in, then you just get pulled back to however long ago it was since you set one. And you can only set 6 of those. So it's just very, very stressful.
Yeah.
I will say something, that if anybody is interested in playing this game, check the accessibility settings. I think the way that they have the game set up by default is not helpful. And you should not play it that way. You should definitely play with some of the accessibility settings turned on. Most appropriate, I think, to me, is like there is one accessibility setting that tells you whenever you have a good hold. And that is like a must-have for me. Like, I don't know why
Yeah.
they wouldn't have that on. Like, every now and again, she'll affirm that like that's a good hold or whatever, or she'll say like that's right or perfect or all right. But having the game tell me visually like you got a good grip, that was huge. So
Yeah.
highly recommend turning that one on. And then there's also been it's just really interesting. I'm excited to talk about it whenever I'm finished with it, because I think that it is. I kept seeing people give it like 9s and 10s, and I was like, the climbing indie game? What are we talking about? It's really good. It's a really good game. And it's a phenomenal story and storytelling and voice acting. Like, it's all good. I'm so excited to get to the end of it and to climb the mountain. And that is the premise, by the way. You are the greatest climber in the world, and there is one mountain that has never been climbed, and you are doing it. And so it is that's the like quick elevator pitch. You're doing something no human has ever done before. And it has some weird like cyberpunky nature stuff where there's like a little climb bot that goes up with you, so you don't have to worry too much about that kind of stuff. I do wish that my climb bot could carry some things for me. That would sure be nice. Like, not sure why I have to have the giant backpack on instead of my robot that can climb walls, but
Yeah,
I don't know. I guess it's cheating otherwise.
I guess.
All right.
Sounds
Well,
practical to me.
let us know, folks, what you've been watching and playing. We're going to reading for our last one. What you been reading?
Let's see. The main thing I've picked up, and I'm almost done reading, is every once in a while I'll get the next collector's volume of the Pokemon Adventures manga.
Nice.
So I think I'm on volume 6 right now, which is in like the Generation 3 Ruby and Sapphire part of the story. So I really enjoyed them. They're like just a totally different take on the world and the characters. And I think it'd be really cool if there was like ever a game that was based in like the world of these manga, because it's like it's a little darker. Then it definitely is darker than the current anime.
Right.
But yeah, the characters are really interesting, especially like in this one, Ruby and Sapphire. Ruby is the male main character, Sapphire is the female main character. But like Ruby, who's kind of seen as the protagonist at first, is running away from Norman, who is his father, who is also the gym leader for one of the gyms, which is who you are in the video games. But you're like set out to like you are running away because your father's dream for you was to be also a Pokemon trainer in battle, and you are like set on competing in the contests, which is like for some Pokemon trainers is like looked down upon, right? So you like run from that expectation and everything, and so then you have this moment of Ruby has this moment of conflict with their dad. So it's cool. It's been really good. Enjoying the ride. But that's been, I think, the main thing I'm reading at the moment.
I would love, somebody did like a ROM hack forever ago of Ash Gray. I don't know if you ever heard about Ash Gray, but it was like they ROM hacked Emerald and did the story of the anime in a video game, in like the classic 2D Emerald video game. And that would be fun if somebody wanted. It would amaze me if somebody hasn't, but taking on that journey of the manga and putting it into a Emerald ROM hack would be super fun.
Yeah.
That'd be a cool idea.
And it has like more of the like kind of the themes of like climate change and climate impact that are in Ruby and Sapphire and Emerald, but it brings it a little more to the forefront just because you have more of the dynamics between like Aqua and Team Aqua and Team Magma, and like what they're trying to do, and the way that they're manipulating like other individuals, like the researchers of like, oh, this is good for the planet, not really realizing like how far they want to take it. I don't know.
Right.
It's been good.
Nice. Very cool. Let's see. We've got Faith Unleavened from Twyla. I'm finishing up that book, and DGC has been reading On the Way to a Smile. I will just get into a couple of mine since I've got too many, simply too many. I am about to finish up the very first Kazuo Ishiguro book. I didn't realize it was his first, but it's called A Pale View of Hills. A really good author that I like a whole lot. If anybody didn't read Clara and the Sun, that was one of my favorite books of the year that it came out, and just a really good author. Remains of the Day. There's a lot of good books from that author, and it's gotten real weird, and I enjoy weird books. I'm also reading Cost, which is my 1001 book for right now, and I dislike everyone in this book. Which is a really, really interesting vibe to just be like, it's a book about a lot of different things. It's kind of like the worst imaginable things that you can imagine happening to this one family. We're told from like the entire lineage, from like the grandparents all the way down to the grandchildren, and grandmother is early stages of dementia. Mom and dad are divorced from infidelity. The grandkids are one of them has a clear heroin addiction. And the other one has like a kind of prodigal son, older prodigal vibe of like, why should we listen to him? And so it's like everyone is awful everywhere all of the time. Like they're always saying the wrong thing, doing the wrong thing. But it feels so real and so human. They're all estranged, from like the aunt to the brothers to the husband and wife to their, spouses or love interests. The grandfather might be the worst of all of them. He drives me crazy. His name is Edward, and he is a retired surgeon. And like this is not a spoiler or anything, but there's a moment where the sister of the main character is a child, is like in high school, and expresses a desire to be a veterinarian. And the dad is like, what do you mean? You want to work on animals? How dare you? Why would you want to waste your life working on animals whenever you could be, using your smarts to be a surgeon like me? And like everything that he does in his brain is exactly what he says. So he's like very honest, but he's just a real bad person. He drives me crazy. It's so interesting. It's been so interesting to read it because the author does a really good job at making you not empathize with any of the characters, and instead just like holding them all in their honesty, which I think it's good. It's just high stakes, very stressful. And then
I feel like when they write, like when someone can write a book that good that like still like makes you mad, it's like, oh well, you're not apathetic, you like it's making you feel what they want you to feel. It's just not a fun feeling.
Yeah,
but
Twyla says reminds them of The Host from Bong Joon-ho, which I don't know if I've seen. It reminds me of The Family Stone, which is a Christmas-esque movie, but that was one that just terrible people, just all terrible people treating each other terribly. And you can't root for anyone because they're all nightmares. One of those experiences. And then I haven't gotten far enough in to like weigh into it too much, but I also started Super Nintendo, the Keza McDonald book. So for fans of video games, you should check out the new one. This is a brand new release. We need more authors writing about video games. And so anytime that I see somebody writing nonfiction video games stuff, I check it out. And it's hilarious because on the back, it's all of the other ones. It's Jason Schreier, Charlie Brooker, Mike Drucker, Tom Bissell, Keith Stewart, Simon Parkin. Like it's literally all the other video game authors who have written, about this book. So very much a fun read so far. I enjoy Nintendo. I will say a lot of the things I've already heard before, but that doesn't mean that it's not helpful to have them all in one place. So go support Keza McDonald. Very cool book. And that's where
I love the cover too.
Yeah, it's nice. A lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. It's a good time. All right. Well, let's wrap up our watch, play, read there. We talked about a whole lot of things because they're just some good things to talk about, which is nice. Quick little ad just to remind folks, next Sunday night, we'll have our DLC. We have a Man and Mingle or a DLC every Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. At the hour mark, we observe communion. Everyone is invited. We'd love for you to be there. Next week, so normally, most of the Sundays, like tonight, Man and Mingle, we'll just get together and hang out. But then once a month, we have a thing called a DLC, which I can't remember. Drew, if you're still out there, remind me what the new word is for DLC because I can't remember. But maybe Twyla remembers as well. The one for this month, February 22nd, is going to be around deep. Thank you, Drew. Deep life conversations, DLC, deep life conversations. We're going to be talking about AI. I wrote a book on AI back here called God and the Machine. And so we're going to be talking about that book and about some of the stuff going around the church and AI. So if your eyes immediately like rolled into the back of your head whenever I even said that, this is for you. I am not pro AI. I am not anti AI. I am pro discerning AI. I think that we cannot ignore it. I think that we must talk about it. And so this is an opportunity for us just to get together and talk about what that even means. How do we even talk about AI? How do we discern the best way forward in the church setting? So if you are down for that conversation, then be sure to attend our DLC next Sunday. That is a totally free opportunity. It's not like a paid webinar or anything like that. It's just going to be a conversation with me around the book again. with communion at the hour mark. And this week, we are going to also be having our book of the month and premium checkbox signups go live. So if you want a extra item for your checkbox, or if you would like to order the book, which the book this month is my book. So if you would like to get a signed copy of my book, you can sign up there and I will ship it to your door. And that is that for the DLC. Yes, so it's still DLC. So the old DLC used to be difficult life conversations, and we were worried that might be a bit too heavy, a bit too like, are you here for a difficult time? Instead, are you here for a deep conversation? Let's at least have that. So
Yeah, I like that.
That works. And then another quick call away is last episode we were supposed to have on February 1st before the snowpocalypse happened. And so we weren't able to share our thoughts on the clubs from January. And so instead, I wanted to at least let people know we are about halfway through February, a little over halfway through, but it's never too late to join any of our clubs. We have a book club, an anime club, and a video game club. The book club for this month is reading They Both Die at the End. A really interesting book, especially if you ever read the book Scythe. Reminds me a lot of that book, just without the kind of like drama side of things, instead of from the perspective of somebody that has to unalive people. You're the ones that do. Really interesting character study. Really enjoying that one. And then the anime that we're watching is Kaguya-sama Love is War, just season 1. And if you want to, they're watching it on Tuesday nights. So if you want to catch up and join this upcoming Tuesday, you can join our club to hang out and watch the anime with them. And then the video game we're playing is the game that I mentioned earlier, Ikenfell, Ikenfell. Really interesting turn-based RPG set in a wizarding school. So good times. You should check it out. With that, with the time we have, Cozy T, tell us how things are going, what you've been up to, a little bit, maybe a quick reminder about what are you doing, and then just an update for us.
Yeah. So I am doing a number of things, but showing up online, hanging out, playing games, talking about games, writing about games. Quite a bit of those are cozy, or at least if they're not cozy games, I might be highlighting some of the cozy experiences or cozy moments in the games, because I think most games actually do contain cozy, less intense moments. I can't be confident that a game like Cairn would. Sounds pretty intense all the time. But who knows? There might even be some cozy moments in there as well.
Breathtaking. It's
Yeah,
so
there you
beautiful.
go.
And the cozy moments are unbelievably cozy. There's one meditative moment with Mirror Lake where you like are on this, really shallow riverbed where the entire sky is reflected. I can't tell you how many screenshots of this game I've taken.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there was like an Aurora Borealis moment that was just absolutely gorgeous. Yes, the cozy moments are
Yeah.
absolutely there.
All right. So my statement stands. Even
Right.
in games like Cairn, there are cozy moments. And so I think it's capturing those, it's reflecting on those. I think also the ways that they might be in conversation with whatever spirituality might mean to you, whether you believe in God, don't believe in God, or have questions, somewhere in the middle, which I think is most of us, in my experience, and just being able to explore those. And I think the practices that can help us. I think gaming is a practice that can help us connect to ourselves, connect to what we believe in, what we value. So here to do that. And I am doing that I stream on Twitch probably about once a week for a couple hours, trying to find a game to play through. So my last one just finished up was Undertale. Before that, I spent a while playing through Discounty. I've got a
Which
few
game?
other options. Yeah, we'll never know. We'll never know which county. And yeah, so playing through that, and then writing on Substack mostly. I just started or posted my first blog of a series I'm going to work on, where I'm playing through Cult of the Lamb. And so it was a pastor plays Cult of the Lamb. I put out the first piece on that, and just kind of in my first couple of hours through the first section, I think defeating the first bishop, if you've played it, you know what I'm talking about, the first bishop, Leshy, and defeating them. And there's some things that I noticed, some things that stuck out to me, some questions that were raised around religion, religiosity, spirituality, all of that. And particularly a lot about community. I think there's some rich stuff in there about what it means to be in community and what it means to lead people in community in a very wacky and sometimes very violent way in Cult of the Lamb. So, and also very cute and cuddly. So it's, interesting. So I've been working on that and we'll continue to work on that. Something that's coming up, I'm very liturgical, and if you don't know what that means, that's okay. But for me, there's a Christian calendar that operates within seasons, and so we are entering the season of Lent that moves our way towards Easter. What I value about these seasons in our calendar is not always like the time of year that they come in, but what they allow us or invite us to think about. So for Lent, it's a lot about, I think, going through some of those deeper or more difficult questions of life, and also saying we hold these beliefs and then life kind of can come in sometimes and really throw those beliefs um, off balance. And what does that mean, and how do we move through them? And that the best way to move through these doubts and questions is not to ignore them, but to find ways to walk through them. So I think for me, that's what Lent can really be about. And so I think I'm going to do something with that also in this space. I had done a couple years ago. I played Hollow Knight when it was just Hollow Knight. There was no Silk Song yet, and I had during the season of Lent would play a couple hours, then pause and just jot down kind of notes, thoughts, reactions, responses to things that I experienced in the game that were particularly around like if you've played the game, the deeper you go, kind of the darker it feels. You're exploring questions of kind of hope and hopelessness, and also that you're this vessel kind of carrying maybe a new story for the creatures there. And so what was I seeing in the story as I played? So I wrote some reflections, but they never really I never put them anywhere. So I'm kind of going back through them and seeing if maybe I'll share them in this season as a way to look back on it might be a classic game now. I don't really know. It's been out for so long. It feels like, I don't know if it's a classic yet, but definitely a influential game. So that's where I'm at right now. That's what's been going on. Enjoying it. Yeah.
That's exciting. Yeah, it's good. It's good stuff. I would say the places that if people aren't following you already, like I mentioned, I think Substack is where you're wanting to put a lot of your attention, it feels like, and where a lot of the most like regular showing up happens, right? With the Friday Law going on right now and all the experiments that you've been trying over there. And then probably also true for Instagram. I'd say both of those are the ones where you're at least, the more like I said, regular posting, the recurring posting kind of stuff for people that want to keep in touch.
Yeah, you'll see me there the most for sure. I started this year in January, the Friday quest log. So every Friday I'll post just a couple of things I've noticed in the games I'm playing, what's kind of going on, and also offer a few questions, just an invitation of kind of like what we did here, right? What are you playing? What's going on in your week? But then a final question that'll be different depending on the week. Just to get you thinking about the week that just passed and maybe whatever is coming ahead. So yeah, feel free to check any of those out.
Nice. All right. Very cool. Very exciting work. We always like hearing how things are going and how the progression is being made. I think it's really cool to hear the progression towards, like you said, more liturgical things, more practice based kind of spiritual work. I think it's cool. Very
Thanks.
exciting. And then, of course, we would be remiss if we didn't talk about it. Although, actually, I have bad news about it. So, your most recent game that you finished, that you played on stream, is Undertale, which you started through a game club, and I watched. I have been there as much as I can. Like I am
Mhm.
Undertale annoying toxic fan 101. Like I am the biggest fan of Undertale. It's my favorite game. I obsess over all things about it. Try to watch every Let's Play that I can, especially if it's somebody that I know playing through the game. And I had you send me the VOD because I was like, oh no, I missed the last one. Like I've got to see the session. And so I did watch, and I watched through the end. And I have to say, you're not actually done. You didn't
I
actually
had a
finish the
feeling.
game.
It
It
feels like there was more, but I was like, nah.
it is indeed a fake ending. So they
Oh,
the spot that you got to right at the very end, I think it's Sans that calls, or maybe it's Flowey that pops up or something and is like, by the way, there's all this other stuff going on and everything is still not quite right.
oh yeah.
And then Flowey's like, I guess you better log back in. And then as soon as you do, it'll pick you up in a spot that allows you to do the end game stuff. So
Okay.
I would almost think of it as you're like just now entering the last chapter,
Yeah.
but it is indeed an interesting experience. So I am curious to know what you have experienced. Whether you choose to go back on stream or not is up to you, of course. I would love to see your reaction to the full ending. You are, I don't think this is a spoiler to say, you are currently on track for the pacifist ending. So you're still good to go.
Okay.
Though you mentioned kind of at the end of your play that you were like, I did hit the dummy. Did that ruin everything? And that is a big mood. No, you're good to go. The dummy was fine. That's like the only thing that is fine for you to have done the way that you did. A lot of people make a mistake right at the beginning by killing the very first frogget.
Mm.
And that's usually where things go wrong, but you're good. So you can keep on progressing through. There's a lot of silly antics to go. And then also a lot of serious moments left to go as well. So
Yeah, there was something about it that like it both felt well. Okay, the ending, well, for what I've seen so far, I guess
right.
isn't quite the ending. Um, yeah, when the game just kind of like shuts off,
Mm-hmm.
and the first time it did that, I was like, well, I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do with this. Um, and then there was someone, shout out to El Tostador, who was on stream with me in chat, was like, that's not quite it. And I was like, it did feel weird as I was
Yeah.
like processing what just happened out loud. But that it does it then multiple times. It's like, well, this is a game like no other game.
Right.
So that's cool. Uh, and it very much feels like in a lot of ways, like, I don't know. It feels like a love letter to like gamers in a
Mm.
way. If you're willing to stick it out, like it does feel like it rewards you for your time and curiosity, which I really appreciate. Like I never was disappointed if I like chose a different path or like if I looked, for this thing or tried this. Yeah. It just felt like it was always rewarded with story or a funny moment or
Mm-hmm.
something, more about a character. So it always felt worth like talking to different characters in the game throughout, which I definitely appreciate because there can be, so many games that even like a store owner, you have maybe chat options, but really they don't really take you anywhere or go do anything. But like every decision feels like it takes you somewhere,
Mm.
um, even when you don't think it would. It has no reason to, but it does anyways. So I've enjoyed it that aspect. I wasn't sure how I would like it going in.
Mm.
Just it's a very different kind of gaming experience than what I'm used to, but like was really captured by, the puzzle aspects, but also the writing is just fantastic. It's really enjoyable. Um, I mean, I can see how this is one that you can replay
Mm-hmm.
in many different ways.
It's a lot of fun to watch people play it. I think it's probably one of my favorite Let's Play games of all time. I
Yeah.
think as much as I love the game, and I do love the game, I really love seeing people's reaction to it. especially being on the other side and knowing what's going to happen, because people always have different reactions. They always have different responses. And there's some bits that always land, and they always, get the person. They always fool the person or that kind of thing. So it's just good.
Yeah. Every time. I felt like there were moments of like if you were watching or there were a couple other people that would be on, and like I felt like I was the only one that didn't know the script, but we were all like in the show.
Yeah.
And like there was that show on Netflix. Did you ever watch Murderville?
Mm-mm.
Oh, it's like was
It was the Will Arnett show, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. So it was like every time there would be a guest, and the guest was the only person on the episode that didn't have the script. And so they were improvising, but everyone else had the script. So it felt very much like everyone else is in on this thing. And I'm just here kind of like figuring it out, going off the cuff. But at the same time, it was like the game doesn't give you everything, but it does tell you a lot of what you need to know if you're paying attention. I think, yeah, even like the ending part, or the almost ending, I guess I'll say, with like the Asgore battle and then the Flowey part, that, yeah, was like everything kind of coming together at the end of what you've learned throughout the game. I did love that Sans and Papyrus made one final return so far. Yeah.
Yep. You got a couple things left to do, and I definitely would encourage you to do them. It's definitely more of a like all things kind of coming together at this point. And so I think that you've met all of these characters, and they've all been kind of disparate, but now you get to see them all together. So it is worth it to play through to the end. I fully encourage it. But I am also, like I said, annoying fan number one. I love everything about Undertale, and I think that it is it's just a fantastic game and a fantastic experience. Yeah, it tries really hard to put you on the route of the neutral ending. So it like there's a lot of moments where a lot of things that people will do the first time, and this is spoiler conversation, I suppose, to the point that you're at. Thanks to Lizzie there in the chat for mentioning that, because we didn't really acknowledge it, but a lot of people will kill a Frogget in the first tutorial section. A lot of people will kill Toriel because they won't see any other way around her, and so they'll kill her, which is really tough. I know of a lot of folks that will kill Papyrus as one of the characters that often gets people can't figure out and they get frustrated with, and there's a lot of moments that if you aren't willing to like persevere and push through, then things go wrong.
Well, yeah, and I think like I went in like knowing so little about the game, like at all,
which is so rare.
Like I knew of the game, right? And I've seen like not even clips. I've seen like pieces of like screenshots and stuff. Like I hear people talk about it, but I knew almost nothing about it. Just that it was a game that a lot of people have played, and early on when I did, which I appreciated, is that you said every battle, right? You can finish every battle without fighting. And that's all I needed to know of like, that didn't feel like a spoiler. That just felt like okay, I just held on to that of like, yeah, when it got to the tutorial, I was like, I feel stuck. And Nate said, every battle can be won without fighting.
Right.
So there has to be a way. What are all my options? And yeah, this is very like spoilery, but like the Asgore fight kind of has a different situation with it. So I won't get into all those details, but that one was like, what am I supposed to do here?
Had I been in the chat, I would have corrected myself. The trailer of the game is not a spoiler. I don't consider the trailer to be a spoiler. And
shouldn't be, no.
The trailer says the game where nothing has to die.
Yeah.
It doesn't say that you don't have to fight. It just says nothing has to die. And so
Yeah.
that's the more accurate turn of phrase is like, that is what truly is, it sets this one apart. And
Yeah.
yeah,
But it
I don't
was
consider
interesting,
this
like
spoiler territory.
the situation of choice, because like so you get to that part and then you get to this part of like the Flowey fight at the end, and that was really interesting of like, well, now I wasn't sure, like, am I still in like the pacifist run or am I in the neutral run? I'm not really sure. But at this point, like, where is my gut telling me? Like, what decision
Right.
is my gut still telling me to make? Regardless of like, have I broken that? I still felt like I wanted to follow, the pacifist run. I
Mhm.
wanted to try and stick to those at like value, I guess. And
Right.
so when it came to like, do I spare him? Do I, finish him? And I was like, I can't not do it this way. I have to. So it was very like, yeah, for a game that looks, I don't want to say simple, but kind of simple on the outside, is like, I don't know, it grabs you um in a really cool way.
Yeah. I think you can understand at the very least why I nerd out about it so hard. I think it's such
Oh
an
yeah.
interesting game, and I think it's a fun one for church people. Like I always recommend, I probably recommend One Shot more than I do Undertale to pastors, but like that genre of game is amongst my favorite things because I feel like it's so churchy without being churchy. Um, it's like so telling an interesting spiritual message that is worth exploring. There was a reason why it had to be our very first Bible study we ever did here at Checkpoint, because it's just too good. It's too good not to talk about.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right. Well, I don't know if we have a ton of time to worry about the GDC report, but I do encourage folks to seek it out. I think there's some interesting things to be gleaned, especially if you're just a data nerd. I think there's fun stuff. For those of you that are totally unfamiliar with what I'm talking about, GDC is an organization that does a lot of cool things, but one of the cool things that they do yearly is kind of put out this huge poll to the games industry through Informa. And so they will go to, I don't know how large the pool is at this point. Yeah, Game Developers Conference, the Festival of Gaming folks. They will put out this huge poll to, it looks like 2,300 this year, over 2,300, and just draw a lot of interesting insights and information from the actual like GDC event, who actually attended the conference, but then also people that just would have responded to the pollster report. It is a global opportunity, so they're all across the world. But of course, being an industry localized in the US, like they're going to focus a lot on the people that are here. And some of the interesting factors that they cover, especially given the past couple of years that we've had in the games industry, has to do with layoffs. That's been one of the biggest topics. For my interest, my eyes immediately drew towards a huge section around AI and some interesting questions around it. And some of the notes that I like would draw out of is just like what we're talking about next Sunday at the DLC is even in the games industry, it really doesn't matter where you look, like whether you're in the church or whether you're looking in the games industry or whether you're looking in school settings or like wherever you might be. It feels like the sentiment is always the same with AI, that there are like these three camps of like never AI, absolutely like furious about it. There are the people in the center that want to do things ethically, and then there are the enthused people who are just way overboard about this thing. And then an interesting kind of shadow side of that end of things is often they're driven by like shame, if they've ever used it, and they don't ever want to like acknowledge that they use AI. And so they hide a lot of it. And so there's just an interesting thing happening here, including in the games industry or wherever you look, where it's just like people not wanting to address the elephant in the room, but it's impossible not to acknowledge how pervasive it is. And so instead, it's like everyone just keeps pushing the topic to the outskirts rather than actually dealing with it. So I thought that was an interesting thing to draw out, is like even in the games industry, it is equally true for us in the church world. The true poison in the situation is we just don't want to talk about it. We just don't want to address it. We don't want to deal with the mess. We just want to keep pushing it forward onto the next generation, the next person to handle it, the next problem. Yeah. So that was something worth drawing out. And then in the kind of social justice-y world, I also wanted to bring up the last section has a huge chunk of advocacy in regards to people working overtime. Burnout is a serious thing. Crunch is a serious thing in the games industry. And so as somebody that really cares about people and doing no harm, like that's obviously something that I don't like to see. I don't want to see people crunching and doing more work than either they're being paid for or than is just responsible for them to do for their bodies. And so that's important. This has been a big couple of years for unionization in the games industry, especially in the US, right? Like we've had a lot of folks that have formed up into unions, which is huge. And then another interesting thing that I haven't had enough time to really look into is they have been doing some investigative work into DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion programs and initiatives. I think that probably has more to do with the current kind of political paradigm and how things have changed in the workforce in general there. But it's worth knowing that they're looking into it, and I'm intrigued to read more about that one in particular because I don't know necessarily. I know that obviously in the games industry, you've got a weird demographic of probably large pockets of queer people, like LGBTQIA plus people, but then you also have largely male, largely white. And so it's like those two things are living in a paradigm in tandem. And so it's almost this Ouroboros moment of like, you've got a huge pocket that is marginalized. But then you've also got this like majority, probably the people with the most power that are pushing back. And that's a toxic brew. That's a tough situation. We know it in the church well as well. So like, that's something that, again, haven't done the time to really look into it, and I don't want to hash it out too much here, but it's just interesting information to look into.
Mm-hmm.
Were there any other highlights or anything that you wanted to expand upon that I mentioned there before we wrap up?
No, I mean, I think those were also kind of the areas that were particularly interesting for me. I did find I really like the way that one, they organize this information in a very pleasing manner. So it's easy to kind of move through. But particularly in like the AI conversation, there's just like pull quotes and things from like their surveys that are really fascinating. Like they have like positive, mixed, and new and negative impact people, but like one of the positive says it just says a solo developer says anything that needs to scale but would not be possible for a one-man show with a few freelancers is up for grabs for AI, and then says it is worse to not make the game. And I think that is a fascinating conversation to have there.
It sure is.
And like just even pulling apart that like single quote. So there's a lot of really interesting stuff there, I think, to break down, like you said, with the AI, and then where the AI is being used and how it's being used. Like that's also, I think, very pertinent to the question of like, is AI being used at all? It seems like most likely yes, but it's how and where and with what purpose. So getting more into like, yeah, let's actually have the conversation. But yeah, I think the DEI stuff, there is a lot more there. I didn't have enough time to read over enough, like you said, as well. So I wouldn't want to speak to something that's there or not there. But both in conversations around like layoffs and then also overworking and burnout, there's just a lot to, I think, um, to read about and to think about, not just in the gaming industry, but we can see it here as clearly having an impact on the employees, the people making the games and doing the work. So I would along with the unionization, I would say looking at the part on like layoffs and everything be good to check out.
Yes. And the report is definitely available online. I don't know, but where people can find it, there's the main GDC website. I know you're technically supposed to have like a business email for that so that you can download it. And so if you're not comfortable, I'm sure it has leaked into various places online. You shouldn't have to fill out the CAPTCHA or the verified form to find it. But I do think that if you don't mind giving it an accurate, email, then they would probably appreciate it. It probably goes into some of the funding that they get to know who's interested in this information, and why. But I think that if nothing else, it's an interesting conversation to have in church spaces and in content creation spaces of people who care about people's souls and spirituality. The DLCs that we have every month. Maybe this could be a good thing to use for formation for our next 3 DLC conversations. Is what do people care about? What's hurting them right now? What's causing harm? So we can talk about how to work around it, work through it. And work past it. So it'll definitely be a part of our conversation next week around AI. This is very much in line with what I want to talk about is how do we actually talk about it? That's something that I feel like not enough people are addressing. Everybody's talking about how to use AI to get rich or how to avoid using AI, but nobody's talking about how do we actually talk about using AI. That's a third conversation that I think is vital to where we're going. So a final plug for that one. With that, we're going to wrap the show with our question that we ask in every episode. Let us know in the chat or down in the comments down below. How did you checkpoint this week? Whenever we ask, how did you checkpoint this week? We mean, how did you engage meaningfully in an online space in the past week? I'll go first, Cozy T, while you're thinking of your response, and while anybody in the chat might be thinking of theirs. I had a great time geeking out about the Sony State of Play this week. We had the February State of Play where they announced a lot of really cool stuff that got me particularly excited about a lot of things. One of the biggest was Paranormacite, which is a mobile-based horror visual novel that I played a couple years ago and absolutely was enamored by. They announced a sequel, and I was in a group, the same group that you did the Undertale club with, who were also geeking out about it. And so I got to share my nerdery and my love of exciting new games, and then also share that with Checkpoint as well over in our space. So that is how I checkpointed this week, was nerding out with the State of Play.
Nice. I think it was this week. It was within the last like 7 to 9 days, but over on Substack, there was 1 or 2 new people, not just to the gaming space, but particularly I think they're also interested in writing about like cozy gaming. So I think their name is Millie, and they posted, just join in the Substack community. So wanted to make sure, was intentional about welcoming them in, and then they wrote their first piece on, I think it was Heartopia, which has been pretty
nice.
big right now in cozy gaming. So I haven't checked it out yet, just because of, kind of in my own lane right now. There's so many things. There is some conversation around that game and AI as well, which is like, okay, how do we have that conversation? So like I said, it's, it's everywhere, like we know. So how are we talking about it? But so a little bit of controversy with the game. Nothing. Well, I don't know. Major. I think that depends on interpretation. But so yeah. But read their article and wanted to support them, so showed up and read it, commented on it. Excited for more people to talk about and write about cozy gaming. So that was exciting to have a new person in the gaming writing, and also specifically cozy gaming writing space.
Nice. Super fun. Yeah, I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Do let us know, folks, if you have anything that you have been doing to Checkpoint this week. We'd love to celebrate those things with you. Before we wrap up the show, I want to give a quick shout out to the folks that make this show possible. So thank you to all of our level 1 subs over on Twitch and also our booster level over on YouTube. Shout out to our hype crew. We don't have anybody currently subscribed to that one, but you could be the first if you want to subscribe to that over on our YouTube channel. And then shout out to our patron level subscribers over on YouTube, Twilight27, Buish, and DGC. We appreciate all of the folks for supporting in whatever way is possible for you. We need your financial support to make this ministry happen, and any way that you can support us, whether that is through traditional tithes and support, or whether that is through subscription methods on YouTube, Twitch, or anywhere in between, or subscribing to our checkbox and those kind of things, or the book of the month that'll be dropping this week as well. So any way that you can support us helps keep this ministry afloat, and we need your support to do it. So appreciate that. Reading off some quick ones here. DGC, helping out with Today at Checkpoint, participating in the watch party for Anime Club, hanging out in the lunch voice chat, making his Instagram post, attending the discipleship meeting, helping out. And then Twyla pitching in over with level 2 quarterly meetings, website efforts. Yeah, we've been in meeting fever for the past couple of weeks over at Checkpoint. So we know those vibes in the church world for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, that's all of the stuff that we've got for this one. Thank you, Cozy T. Pastor, for joining us as our special guest speaker for this episode of the Checkpoint Church podcast. One final shout out. Where can people find you?
Thanks for having me again. You can find me on Instagram and Twitch as Cozy T Pastor, as well on YouTube and Cozy T Church on Substack. But definitely checking out in all those places, talking about games, cozy games, and a little bit about our spiritual rhythms and practices.
Love it. All right, folks, we're going to wrap up the show then with our 3 things that we believe to be true about every single one of you out there. Whether you believe in God, don't believe in God, go to church, don't go to church, hate God, hate church, no matter what, we still believe these 3 things to be true about you. Number 1, that God loves you, like really, really loves you. Number 2, we love you. We want community with you. That's what we're doing here. Number 3, that you, yes, you matter. You're a person of sacred worth. The world is a better place. Why? Because you are in it. Folks, thanks so much for watching. Appreciate you. Catch you on the Discord throughout the week. And until next time, bye-bye.